Hi, welcome to this video today. We're going to be looking at two trading tips from legendary trader Mark Weinstein, which I believe can make any trader more profitable. We're also going to look at how to have a simple strategy that works and how to apply it for profit in the real world of trading. And also how to avoid education that you don't need in Forex trading. I just want to start with the education you don't need. And I was at a seminar about 6 weeks ago, and it was run by a major London brokerage, several hundred people there, and it went on all day. First part day was the basics of drawing trend lines and so forth. Second part, they moved to the advanced trading strategy. They got their senior analyst out to explain it. According to him, combined the best of Fibonacci with Elliott Wave. And he basically gave numerous examples of trades that worked. And he had lots of lines going all over the place, retracements, fan lines. He threw in a few indicators. And everyone was actually really interested in what he had to say. And I was just sitting there thinking, well, we've got a strategy here that he's teaching, which is extremely complicated, okay? And it's basically based upon a dead 12th century Italian mathematician who had nothing to do with Forex trading, and a guy called Nelson Elliott who devised the wave theory, but he actually died poor despite the fact he claimed to have found the hidden order of the market. And it's just bizarre. There's a lot of people in the room. No one's questioning what's going on here at all. And the guy who's teaching it, maybe he believes it works, I don't know. But it's one of those peculiarities of Forex trading that people want things that are a little bit mystical, a bit complicated, make them feel safe. But of course it doesn't work in the real world. The real world is very different. It's only simple systems that work in the real world. Complicated systems do not work. Now, I was actually watching a TV documentary a little while ago, and it was to do with Bruce Lee. I've mentioned in numerous videos of mine before. And he basically changed the whole style of Kung Fu. He simplified the art. So he basically took it from being very complicated to being very simple. And of course he was the greatest Kung Fu artist on the planet. And the way he explains how it's done in terms of his method and how to win is perfectly explained in the next clip, and it is absolutely very, very applicable to Forex trading as well. So what we'll do is just look at this clip. It's really, really good, and watch out for the point where he says step on the instep. And we will be back in just a few moments and discuss the video.
His proficiency in this style of gung fu, his study of philosophy has caused him to question. And now he begins to question why most martial artists, Chinese and otherwise, seem more concerned with preserving tradition than with looking more deeply into the matter to penetrate through to the ultimate truth of martial art. Moreover, Lee has begun to develop his own method of gung fu, which he describes as non-classical in nature and which takes as its core the principles of economy of motion, simplicity, and directness.
All right, for instance, you will read it in a book, in a magazine and everything, that when somebody grabs you, you will first do this, and then this, and then, and then, and then, and then, thousands of steps before you do a single thing. Of course, these kind of magazine would teach you to be feared by your enemies and admired by your friends and everything. But in Kung Fu, it always involves a very fast motion. Like, for instance, a guy grabbing your hand. It's not the idea to do so many steps. Step him right on the instep. He'll let go. This is what we mean by simplicity. Same thing in striking and in everything. It has to be based on a very minimum motion so that everything would be directly expressed. One motion, and he's gone. Doing it gracefully, not to go, yelling and jumping all over him, but to do that. Excuse me.
Welcome back to the video after that short clip of the fantastic Bruce Lee. The message of that video clip was obvious, and I think a lot of Forex traders could learn from it. And, I was saying about overcomplication, over-elaboration earlier that we noted at the seminar. That is posturing and posing. Traders do it, it makes them feel good, it flatters their ego, makes them feel safe. Problem is, they're going to have to go into battle with the market, and those complicated systems or over elaborate strategies are just going to collapse. Need to keep it very, very simple. You should only really have 3 inputs to generate a trading signal, and that is it. So your strategy can be very, very simple. Now, in terms of Kung Fu, Bruce Lee was a very flexible fighter. He would throw kicks and punches in different combinations at different times. And I think that's the same with Forex trading. Just as in Kung Fu, your opponent is always on the move and doing different things, so is the market. So you actually have to have your rules fairly flexible and be able to respond to that. Also, you should respond instantly. In terms of looking at a chart, I've said this before, you should know what to do within seconds. If you don't, you shouldn't be doing it. It's the same in martial arts. You don't get time to think. You don't have to think very long to know what to do in martial arts. You're basically responding to what you see. And I think Forex traders deliberate too long over charts. If you don't see what you want to do instantly, just don't do it. Now, in terms of the trading tips I mentioned earlier, I want to take them from Mark Weinstein, as I said, and the tips relate to 2 animals. These 2 animals, he said, really gave a good idea of how to win at Forex trading. And the animals were also a good contrast with Bruce Lee. So let me just discuss the animals and what they meant to Weinstein. But first of all, who was it? Well, he's a trader who's never had a losing week, which is almost unheard of. And he was interviewed in the book Market Wizards, Jack Schwager. And Schwager noted that he'd won a trading contest, 300,000 and 900,000 a few months. He'd never lost a trade doing it. And he said to Weinstein, that's a fantastic performance. And Weinstein said, yeah, but the markets were good. It'd be great to be able to win almost every trade, wouldn't it? However, we won't do that, but we can win more than we lose. And I think the bit of wisdom from Weinstein here is very, very good in the animals he uses. So let's look at them. The first animal he took as an analogy with the ultimate in professional Forex trading was the cheetah. And he said, the cheetah's the fastest animal on the planet, but when it's stalking its prey, it just doesn't go and run after it. Let's say it's stalking some antelope. It will basically look at the pack of antelope. It will take its time to select the weakest one, the slowest one, and only then will it go in for the kill. So it makes sure it's almost 100% certain it's going to get the kill. And I think Forex traders could learn that, the art of patience. It's a very underrated trait in my view. You should be very, very selective about your trades. Most people try and force profits from the market. You can't do that. You have to wait for the really high odds setups. And if you're not really fully confident about a trade and you don't think it's going to go right, or you've got any doubts, you should stay out the market. Now moving to Bruce Lee. He didn't spend most of his time hitting opponents. He spent most of his time standing off the opponent. And he would basically wait and wait and wait until he was almost certain he could land a kick or punch, and then he'd go for it. So patience, I think, it certainly is a virtue in Forex trading. Now, the next animal that Weinstein used as an analogy with great Forex trading was the sparrow. He was saying, he could sit in his garden and see sparrows come. They would come very quickly, take just one little bit of bread off the table, and they'd be gone. And he said, you'll never ever shoot a sparrow. Now, in terms of the Forex markets, the bread relates to profits. Traders always give back profits in the market, and they don't take enough bread off the table. And Weinstein, in his trading strategy, would have one objective where he would cover, let's say he got into profit, he would cover a proportion of his trade straight away and let the other part of the trade run. Okay, so he put some profit in the bank almost straight away. He had a longer term target, then he'd try and reach that. If he didn't, the bit he'd banked would cushion him to his loss. And Bill Lippershutz, another great trader, used this technique. He would basically have a profit objective, put 50% in the bank, leave 50% run. If it ran on, he'd still make profit. If it came back, he'd try and put the 50% back in on the dip if it was the right thing to do. So these guys, real professional traders, are taking money off the table and banking it and reducing position size after entry. the average Forex trader, or a lot of beginners in particular, basically pyramid up. It is stupid. It's one of the dumbest things you can do in Forex trading. Never pyramid up when you've got a profit. So I think, those two tips are really good, or the two animals are really good. And also with Bruce Lee, he was lightning quick like the sparrow. He would be in, land the punch, he'd be gone, out of range. And I think, you've got to get some money out of the range of the Forex markets. So in terms of, Forex trading, nice and simple, nice and flexible, and it should be an effortless exercise. You shouldn't be thinking, you should be responding, and it should be a very natural way that you trade, not too rigid. And it sounds very simple. It is very simple. Most traders, though, cannot take the fact that they are dealing with uncertainty. They want to make themselves feel safe. They want to avoid losses so much that they can't trade, they can't pull the trigger, or they get too complicated and think it's going to help them. It doesn't. Okay, so never be frightened of losing. You're going to lose trades, so long as you keep losses small, that's fine. Be nice and simple, trade with confidence, and you'll be a winner. Now, in terms of rounding off this video, what I want to do is go out with it's an old TV program actually, the first one I think Bruce Lee appeared in a major role in America. It's called Longstreet, and he's basically teaching a blind guy to fight. He's got to fight with the local gangster. I mean, it's a TV program, so there you go. It's a bit improbable, but hey. Now, in this clip, Bruce Lee absolutely sums up what it takes to be a winner at Forex trading. And he also mentions the art of dying. Now, for dying, put in the word losing and you'll get the point of the video clip. It's also got my favourite quote from Bruce Lee, the water quote as well. Here's the clip to round off the video. Thank you very much for watching me as per usual. Have a great day, and if you've got any questions or queries anytime, please contact me. Thank you.
Fight, huh?
Fighting is efficient in close quarter, but don't make a plan of fighting. That is a very good way to lose your teeth.
There's so much to remember.
If you try to remember, you will lose. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. Put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or creep or drip or crash. Be water, my friend.
Yeah. Why don't I just stand in front of Bolt and recite that to him? Maybe he'll faint or drown.
When is it?
Tomorrow.
You are not ready.
I know.
Like everyone else, you want to learn the way to win, but never to accept the way to lose. To accept defeat, to learn to die is to be liberated from it. So when tomorrow comes, you must free your ambitious mind and learn the art of dying. May it be well with you, Mike.